Hi guys, welcome to my current events and topics page. Coronavirus test kits sent to the states are flawed, CDC says. Some tests distributed by the agency delivered inconclusive readings. The CDC will need to ship new ingredients, further delaying results. Some of the coronavirus testing kits sent to state laboratories around the country have flaws and do not work properly, the Centers for Disease Control said. On Wednesday, the kits were meant to enable states to conduct their own testing and have results faster than they would by shipping samples to the CDC in Atlanta. But the failure of the kits means that states that encountered problems with the test should not use it and would still have to depend on the CDC's central lab, which could cause several days' delay in getting results. Obviously, a state wouldn't want to be doing this test and using it to make clinical decisions if it isn't working as well as perfectly at the state as it is at CDC. Oh my goodness. The CDC recommends testing for some people who have symptoms like fever, cough, shortness of breath, have within the past 14 days traveled to China or have been in close contact with a patient known to be infected with the coronavirus. Doctors with patients in that category are supposed to consult their state health department about whether the patients should be tested for the virus. The CDC announced late Wednesday that another evacuee quarantined at a military base in California has tested positive for coronavirus. The new case among evacuees from Wuhan, the epicenter of the outbreak, brings to 14 the total of confirmed cases in the United States. So how many are walking around with no symptoms or with symptoms and aren't getting checked? Come on, you guys. This stuff is really making me mad. A previous case was diagnosed at the Miramar base in San Diego on Sunday. Don't worry, in Nebraska, they confirmed a case too. And that's right by where I live. So the first and second patients arrived on different planes. Why are they bringing them here? And were housed in separate facilities at Miramar, according to CDC. Dr. Chris Braden, an expert on the site, said in a statement that at this time, there is no indication of person-to-person spread of this virus at the quarantine facility, but CDC will carry out a thorough contact investigation as part of its current response strategy to detect and contain any cases of infection with this virus. The CDC announced last week that it had begun shipping about 200 kits to laboratories in the United States and roughly 200 two labs in more than 30 other countries. Each kit can test about 700 to 800 specimens from the patients, the agency said. Kits were shipped to every state, but officials did not say how many of the kits were faulty. At a news conference on Wednesday morning, Dr. Mezenier said that the test kits had been shipped to more than 30 other countries, but later in the day said that she was mistaken and that the international shipments had been held back because of the flaw. Before the kits were shipped to the states, Dr. Mezenier had emphasized repeatedly at news conferences that the kits would not go out until the CDC was sure they were as accurate as possible. Dr. Jean Morazzo, director of the Infectious Disease Division at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, said accurate diagnostic tests were invaluable. The test is the only way you can definitely know if you have the infection. You absolutely need it for case counting. It allows you to know who's infected. You can treat these people if a treatment is available, and you can isolate them. Doctors in China said there was an urgent need for a simpler, quicker diagnostic test. Officials from the World Health Organization said during a news briefing on Wednesday. On trial runs in some states, the CDC kits produced results that were inconclusive. Boo! The test did not involve samples from potential patients, but were part of the routine quality control procedures that labs go through before using a test to make real diagnosis. Things may not always go as smoothly as we like, Dr. Mezenier said. The problem appeared to come from one ingredient involved in the test, adding that the CDC would make a new supply of that ingredient to send to all of the laboratories. Officials did not say when the ingredient would be shipped, but said that the process was being expedited and that the material would be made available as soon as possible. States that did not have trouble with the kits could keep using them. A spokeswoman for the CDC said, adding that those states would still receive the newly made ingredient from the agency. The Flawed test kits are a separate issue from the mislabeled samples in San Diego that led officials to discharge from hospital a woman who was sick from the coronavirus. More than 1,380 people have died, nearly all of them in China. Okay, then why are their crematoriums blowing up? Why are their crematoriums belching out smoke 24/7? It's just what I've heard. No confirmation because I'm just Jackie. Where there are more than 55,000 confirmed cases, the CDC does not recommend testing for people who may have been exposed to the virus that have no symptoms. Even if they are infected, if they are still in the incubation period, there may not be enough viruses in their bodies for the test to detect it. The inability to detect very early infection is one reason for keeping plane loads of people from Wuhan in quarantine instead of just testing them and letting them go, as if the results are negative. But why are you sending people out in airplanes to states that did not have a problem with it, and now they do? I need this answered. A person could test negative and still be infected. Sorry for my outburst, guys, but I'm just frustrated with these stories. For the same reason, health authorities say there is no benefit to testing symptom-free people on cruise ships. Because there is an unknown window of time between when a person becomes infected and when the test can find the virus, health officials have determined that a quarantine of 2 weeks, believed to be the incubation period of the illness, is the best way to make sure that people who may be infected do not transmit the virus to others. What about the people that are in the 24-day range of being infected and not having any symptoms? Are they just walking around infecting people? Tests for other infectious diseases can also fail to detect some cases. A panel of tests used to screen for respiratory viruses when pneumonia is suspected can give negative results even if a patient is infected, Dr. Morazzo said. So can rapid tests for flu and strep throat. Blood tests for HIV can miss the diagnosis in people who were recently infected. There's no perfect test for pretty much any infectious disease I can think of, Dr. Morazzo said. Okay, there you go. Guys, all you can do is just put your faith in God and not worry about it, because worrying cannot change a thing. And probably the chances of you getting this are less than the chances of getting it. So stay healthy, keep your immune system up, and please, if you're sick, stay the heck home. God bless you guys. And may God watch between you and me while we're apart one from another.